Hey everyone, it's Allie from Chairside Chats. Today's guest is Aubree Barnum. Aubree is a writer and an elementary school teacher. She has a book out right now called The Birds and the Beasts. Aubree talked with me about what it's like to publish a book, some of her writing process, how she finds inspiration from other authors. I also chatted with her about her time as an elementary school teacher, some of the challenges that she's faced in the classroom, and some of the pros of her job. I hope you all enjoy listening to my chat with Aubree. Let's talk about your writing and when you got started. Like, when did you start writing? Were you
just go?
Yeah, were you just young when you started?
Yeah, I've always been. So, like, I think I started actually writing when I was in junior high, like 13, 14 years old. At first, it wasn't like anything long form. It was mostly like, I wouldn't even call it poetry. It was just like little thoughts or things. I wrote short stories a little bit, and then I started writing an actual novel when I was 14.
Wow.
And I still
cool.
have it. My mom bound
Really?
it and everything.
Oh my gosh.
Way too long, and there's no actual plot.
That's funny.
But it's super. I don't know. It's super special that I still have it though, because I like to look back on it every once in a while. But I finished it probably when I was about 16, and then you just I wrote for a little bit on and off and everything, and then I don't know. I've just always been writing down like little thoughts I have, or like poems, or just little things like that. And then 2020 came around and COVID hit.
Oh gosh.
I know.
That's the worst.
I was working at an elementary school as like a secretary.
Okay, wow.
And I know. And I just decided, like, you know what, I just gotta quit this, and I gotta go back to school, and I gotta get my teaching degree.
Yeah.
And so I stayed home with my daughter for a year, and when I did that, I was like, I gotta do something else on the side. Yeah. I'm crazy just sitting at home. And with COVID and everything going on. So that's when I wrote my poetry collection.
Okay. That one's The Birds and the Beasts.
Yes, The Birds and the Beasts.
Okay, so you started that in 2020.
Yeah. And then I published it in 2021.
Oh my gosh.
But it wasn't, I mean, it's a small book, so.
Well, like, it's full of good stuff, though. It's got, like, lots of, I don't know, I just finished it last night, and I'm like, holy cow, like, how long did it take you to write that?
It's funny because some of the pieces I had written, like, in high school. Yeah. I already had them lying around. And then other pieces, I kind of knew the direction that I wanted to go in, and I knew, like, thoughts and feelings that I had, so I just had to boil them down into poems to, like, put them into some sort of storyline type of a book. But yeah, I mean, it was just, I don't know, that just came about in that year. And then after that, I kind of got that out of my system, and now I just write books, like, just like pure fantasy.
So do you have something in the works now? Yeah. Is that out in the open, or are we keeping them secret?
All the time on my Instagram. Okay. I finished, So I started this story that I'm writing right now, like 7 years ago. Okay. With the initial, like, idea and characters and all that, and kind of where I wanted to take it.
Yeah.
But I just never had, like, the actual, like, skills and wherewithal to really put it into a novel, until I took a workshop.
Okay, so that's where, I don't even know how to word this, but like, instead of taking like writing classes in college, you can do these workshops that help. Like, so explain how that works.
So, I mean, there's a bajillion out there that you can take and learn from, but I mean, there's better ones, obviously. When I was writing my poetry book, you just get to know people as far as, like, the writing community goes on Instagram. And so I got to know all of these people who were also writers, and they started talking about this workshop that they were taking called Writing with the Soul.
Okay.
And it's put on by Adrienne Young. She's also an author. She wrote books like Fable and Sky in the Deep,
Okay.
stuff like that. And I just always hesitated to do it because it was kind of expensive.
Yeah.
And I was just like, ah.
Well, it's a leap, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll actually help me or whatever, but I took it and it was the best experience. Like, it was really the springboard for me being able to look at my story and write more, first of all, of it. To just make it into a cohesive novel. And so let's see, I took that. I'm trying to think of when I took that workshop. I think it was in February or March, and I finished my draft of my novel by August.
My gosh.
So it was just like, I was just so motivated, like, to get it done and to get it all on paper so that I could start revising and everything.
Yeah.
So I think it's just finding the right workshop that works for you. But I think the other thing that I would tell people to look for workshops is, like, if you're going to be able to find a workshop that gives you a writing community, that's the most important thing out of it. I didn't have any, like, writer like real writer friends, you know, that I could, like, talk writing with and everything. But out of this workshop, I really got to know, like, I have 2 writer friends who are actual real life friends now.
Nice.
And we've met each other, like, we went on a writing retreat. One lives in California, one lives in Florida. So,
oh my gosh. So these are people from around the country.
Yes, yeah.
So was this writing workshop in Utah specific?
No, it was online.
Okay, it was online and they all come. So is the workshop specific to a style of writing, like fantasy or just any kind of writer?
Any kind of writer.
Okay.
Yeah, you can write horror, you can write middle grade, you can write poetry. Like, I think we had quite a mix of us in there.
Well, y'all have different perspectives to add to it, so that would help.
It was just really cool. So we call them CPs.
Okay.
Critique partners.
Okay.
To find, like, your CP that is, like, the person that you can share all your writing with. And trust them that they're gonna, like, give you feedback that's actually helpful. That's where I met my 2 CPs. And it's been like, so the workshop and meeting my CPs were what changed everything for me with writing. So
that is so cool. And I mean, you made some buddies along the way.
I know. And it's like, I don't know. It's just really fun because they're also moms and they write and they have jobs. And so they, you know, you can talk about, like, I'm really struggling today because I've worked all day and I can't write anymore.
That's awesome. So, like, what is the process of publishing a book? Like, when your first one, The Birds and the Beasts, how do you contact a publishing? I don't even know what it's called. Or do you do it yourself? Like, how does that work?
It's a little bit different. When I published my poetry book, I did it myself. So there's independent publishing and there's traditional publishing. Independent publishing is when you do it yourself. So I went through Amazon to publish my book. And honestly, they've streamlined it to make it really easy, and it's free. Like,
so when because I got your book off of Amazon, so I buy it on Amazon. They just ship it.
They make it and ship it.
They just make it. Oh,
so I don't do anything.
That's crazy. Like, they just print it and then they send it to me, and it came fast. Where the heck is their print shop?
I have no idea.
Wow. So if you do you keep extra copies at your house though, so then you can sell them?
Extra copies at my house for, like, I've done a few author events, like, around Utah.
Oh, that's cool.
To, like, sell merch in person and meet people and do all the things. So I have a couple of those at my house. To just have on hand. Traditional publishing is what I'm trying to do right now.
Okay, so how does that work?
I'm not going to say it's harder because both are equally hard. Especially if you want to have, like, a commercially successful book. But traditional publishing is where you write your book, you do rounds and rounds of revisions, like so many, and then you query. And querying is where you send it out to agents. To hopefully get an agent for yourself. And then once you snag an agent, then the agent then shops it out to publishing houses.
Okay.
To then hopefully have one of them buy it to then publish it.
Okay.
So there's just, I don't know. It's for me right now, because I'm in it, just seems like so many steps
Well, yeah.
to get to where I want to be.
Yeah. So, like, when the publishing house gets it, they distribute it. Are they like buying your
Yes.
book?
Yeah, they buy my
and then
book.
you get like royalties or
Yes.
something? Oh, okay. So that's how you get paid for that.
Mhm.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
So when you talk about the revision process, do your CPs take part in that, or is it like a
Yes.
company?
No. So like my revision process right now, because I have not queried yet. I have not looked for an agent yet.
Okay.
Because you really want your manuscript to be
Yeah.
like 100%
Yep.
by the time you send it out. So it's taken a lot
Yeah.
for me. But yeah, my CPs, they read everything that I write pretty much. I just send them. I mean, we have a Google Doc that we just have like, here's your folder, here's my folder, there's the other
Wow,
folder.
that is so
And
cool.
we share, like, because we're all writing a book.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we share chapters and we make notes on the side and we upload revised chapters and make notes on those sides. Like, it's just, it's really involved and it takes a lot of hours.
Well, yeah. I mean, just writing in itself, and then you do your own revisions, but then,
Yeah.
I mean, you're all helping each other out,
Yes.
but that takes up time
Yes.
too. But you're all willing to put that time in for
Yeah.
each other. So
I think I think it's finding those people that you really like believe in their book,
Mhm.
because like, I don't know, you know, you meet a lot of writers and you like them,
yeah.
but you read their stuff and you're just like, you know what, that's just not for me. Like,
You have
I
to,
just don't think that that's
yeah.
my thing that I'm into right now. Not that it's a bad book, not that
Right.
it's bad writing. I just
There's just
can't
some,
help
I
you.
mean, yeah, when you're reading a book in general,
Yeah.
there's just some, like I always have said, I'm going to start it and I'm going to finish it.
Yeah.
But then it's hard and I end up hating the book. And I'm like, why am I doing this to
Yes,
myself?
just not finish
Why am I
it.
wasting my time doing
I
this?
know.
But
So I don't know. It was kind of like dating almost when you're
yeah.
trying to find those CPs, because you're like reading everybody's stuff and you're just like, I really like you as a person. It's not you, it's me.
I actually had that thought. I was like, I wonder if it's like, oh, you just hit it off when you meet each other.
Yes. And so me and my two friends, we just really like, I don't know, something just clicked in us, and we, even when we, so like when we when we talked about, hey, we should do a writing retreat, the three of us.
Yeah.
My husband was like, you've met these people on the internet.
Yeah. He's a little nervous.
To a different like state.
Yeah.
And you're just gonna stay with them. And I hope that that's okay. And we like got there. I was a little bit nervous because I'm like, I truly have never met these people in person before.
Yeah.
But we got there and we just like talked forever, for hours. And like we wrote and we laughed. Like it was the funnest time. So
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I think it's just really finding those people that you connect with, and
yeah.
hopefully you can find one online.
Oh yeah.
It's scary on there sometimes,
Yeah.
but there are genuine people on there if you look.
Yeah. So how do you get your ideas? Like I know, because I'm assuming that your Birds and the Beast one, that was
Yeah.
from like just teenage
Yes.
growing up.
The Birds and the Beast I think I just needed to get that out of my
Yeah.
system. You know, you go through trauma like as a
Mhm.
kid and as a teenager and all these things, and you just sometimes you don't process them and then they come out in weird ways.
Yep.
And I have anxiety and depression both, and I struggle with both, so do a lot of people. And that was just my way to kind of internalize and like, I don't know. I can't think of the word that I'm trying to think of right now.
Well, it feels like
Process?
yeah, it's like
Process?
it's a healthy way of coping to me, because I'm like, you like
Yeah,
put it on those pages and
I know. And
try to get rid of it.
yep, and it was kind of scary because like some of the things are real in there. You know,
Yeah.
and some of them are exaggerated and some of them are just like, I like the storyline that goes with this trauma, so I'm going to marry them both together. But I mean, there's like family members in there and, you know,
Mhm.
people that are real life people. And so I was nervous
Yeah.
to put it out there and to like tell everybody about it, because I don't know, it's just hard to go through those hard things and
Yeah.
have them brought up again.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you're being very vulnerable, so that's always hard
I know,
for everyone.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's like, I'm not an expert, but I'm always like, I just think sometimes that's a healthy way of coping with things. So
it brought up some tough conversations.
yeah. Well, even like I have anxiety, and I think it was Blue Ticket.
Yeah.
I'm just like reading it. I'm like, this is what I feel like all the time. And then like I've had, anxiety attacks. I'm like, I hate that's the worst. I've only had like maybe 3 really bad ones in my life, but like you described it, I'm like, that's how I feel. She like helped me feel my feelings.
That is just like so validating to me. Like and see like people read this and they're like, oh, we like it. And I'm like, oh,
No.
great, 2 thumbs up. But then people come up to you and they're like, no, really though, this was you were describing exactly what I'm feeling. I'm like, oh.
Well, even because like the little blue pill.
Yeah.
I take a little blue pill every night and I feel great.
Yep.
And
it makes me feel happy.
I'm like, that's my happy pill, and it's good. I mean, I'd like to go off of it, but then at the same time, I'm like, I like how I am.
Yes.
I don't like what I was before.
Totally.
And I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, maybe I should just look into some alternatives or, but
I feel like it's like a fine wire to walk across.
Yeah.
Because you like how you feel. And like, I mean, I've been on and off of some sort of medication for depression and anxiety since I was in junior high.
Yeah.
And looking back now, that was probably too young for me to be on something like that. But that's all that we knew at that time, And I think as an adult, you know your body best. And if something is helping you,
why change? Well, that's what
change it?
I keep going back to that because I'm like, why do I want to change this? I like the way I am now. Like, I don't fly off the handle for dumb things. I'm not worrying about the irrational things that make zero sense. And I don't know. It's funny. I've had anxiety my whole life. I didn't know till I had my second kid. And I'm like, it's not normal to feel like that. I'm not supposed to feel like that all the time.
You're not supposed to feel like you're drowning.
I know. Like worrying about everything, and it runs in my family. So I just remember my dad. Like sometimes me and my dad call each other up when we're worried, and then we'll be like, "That's dumb. Stop worrying about it." So
it runs in my family too.
Yeah.
So it's just we all have it, and we all
and you learn to cope. People cope in different ways, and some things work better than others for others. And I lucked out because whatever medicine they put me on from the get-go worked great. And I've had friends that have taken like tons of different kinds, and you have to give it like that 6 weeks or however long, and then it doesn't work, and then you're starting over. And anxiety, it sucks.
I just wanted that to be like, mostly I just wanted people, because you feel really isolated when you have both or either of those things, or a different thing even. And so I always want to make sure that people don't feel like they're the only ones.
Right.
Because you do feel like
you do. And for the longest time, I felt like I was crazy. I'm like, people are going to think I'm nuts.
Yeah.
But then you talk to people and then you find out people have issues too. And I don't know. I feel like it didn't used to be talked about as much as it is now. I can't talk, but
no, I get it.
Anyways, like but that's good. I mean, and then let's see, there's the other one, Don't Go. Reminded me of my grandpa.
Yeah, I wrote that about my grandpa.
Aw, grandpas.
I know.
Dang.
That one's one of my favorite ones, actually. And we don't, like, in my family, we do not talk about, like, we don't bring up feelings or, like, that's just not how we do things. But, so it was probably, to be honest with you, I don't know if he's read that or not, but I know that he knows about it because my mom told him about it.
Yeah.
So I don't even know. I'm scared to even ask him how he feels about it. But, like, I wanted it to be out there in the universe.
Right.
I just needed somebody to know, like, even though we don't talk about this, this is how I feel. So.
Well, and it hit me because mine's gone.
Yeah.
And I rode horses with him all the time. Like, I worked with him. He's part of the reason why I've started doing stuff like this, because I wish I would have sat him down and got his story.
Yes.
And I mean, he tells stories all the time, but I don't have that.
Sometimes, but sometimes you're like, oh, great, another story from Grandpa, and then you're like, man, when you get older, you're like, but those are like special.
They had some cool stuff that they did, just neat people, and no, that's cool. And so your grandpa's still alive?
Yes, he is.
And I don't know. I mean, it'd be interesting to hear what he says, but
I don't know. And he doesn't know how much of an inspiration he is to me, but I don't know, it's just the way that he lives his life and who he is as a person. He was a teacher too.
Oh.
He, retired as a band teacher.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's just a special guy, and I don't think that enough of. I mean, I think he knows that, but enough of us don't tell him that.
Right. Well, and I feel like, I don't know, at least my grandpa was super humble.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he was an influence to me too, but he didn't think that he was, they're just kind of humble that way. Like, why do they think I'm special, but they are. Yeah.
Totally.
Well, that's cool. Do you have like authors that have inspired your writing?
Yes, so many. I mean, Adrienne Young, I talked about, she's the one that put on the Writing with the Soul workshop. To be honest with you, I've only read one of her books. But she is an inspiration to me because she knows how hard the publishing industry is right now.
Yes.
And she is like, I am dragging you all with me. Like, you are all going to succeed. I'm going to give you the tools so that you can succeed. Because there's a place for everybody.
Oh, that's so cool.
And so she has made, so I've taken her Writing with the Soul workshop. She also has a workshop called Query Camp, and it teaches you all about querying. So like how to find your agent, all of that. That's another one that I would highly suggest for anybody that is looking to seriously write and turn this into a career.
Okay.
I don't know. She's so, how do I put it? She knows that like the publishers and the publishing industry in general can really screw authors over.
Right.
And she's like, you better have other things in your back pocket so that you can be successful. And I just really admire that because she could hold that close to her chest and be like, this is my thing and I found that it works and I can be successful. But she really wants others to be successful too.
That's amazing. So, I think that's what makes people successful is when they've got other people that they're trying to root along and help. She's really built a community around her workshops and everything that, I mean, it's unlike any writing community I've ever seen. So it's really awesome. Also, I mean, I would be a basic girl with saying this, but Sarah J. Maas has an empire that I don't even know if anybody will be able to touch. No. But man, is she just a wizard. Like, I think the last time I got like super excited about books was Harry Potter. And I went to midnight, whatever, to like Barnes and Noble, go. I have not done that with any books that I've been really excited about, but Sarah J. Maas has something about her that you need her books immediately. Yes. And her characters, you love them. I have never read a fantasy book ever. Like, I mean, I grew up when Harry Potter came out, but I didn't read the books. I hated reading when I was a kid. I like it now, but I don't even know who told me. Someone told me to read, is it A Court of Thorns and Roses, the first one. I read it. And now I feel like I'm in the cool group because I can call it ACOTAR and people know what I'm talking about. But I read that book. The whole time I'm thinking, what the heck am I reading? And then at the end, I'm like, what the heck did I just read? And I was hooked. Like,
and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like,
well, I'm all in now. I read all of them. I think I read the first one like last December. The second one, that's a big one, right?
Yeah,
that's the biggest book I've ever read. Well, I've read all of them, but 800 pages? I never read books that big. I read 2 through 5. That's all of them, right? 2 through 5?
Yeah.
I read all of that in January alone.
You just become addicted.
Oh, yeah. And I'm like trying to tell other people about it. Sometimes they look at me funny. I'm like, no, you guys got to read this.
Oh, trust me. I'm like, have you heard about our Lord and Savior, Sarah J. Maas? Like, I would love to tell you about her. She has a book. Like, don't walk away from me.
Well, yeah, I read those. And then someone's like, you got to read Crescent City. I mean, they were all right. I feel like she gets to the last 100 pages.
She does. When I was reading the first Crescent City, I was like, what is this?
I know. I couldn't. It took me forever to get through that.
And then you start reading it and you get into it and you're just like, well, now I can't stop.
Yeah. No, I think I'm on the third one now, and I don't know, maybe a little more than halfway through, but
it's a wild ride, man. Sarah J. Maas knows what she's doing, and I mean, to even have a fraction of her success, it would be a dream.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, I'm just like, how do you come up with stuff like this? And I'm in this world of memes too. I'm sending memes to people. I'm sending memes to Shawnee, and I'm like,
everybody.
Wow, I think I sent you some. Did I send you some? And I'm like, I don't really even know you that well, but I'll get you. You'll get me from this. And they're all over. Maybe it's because I talk about it.
Yeah.
And it pops up on Instagram. I hear I'm supposed to read is it Throne of Glass?
Yep, I just got finished with that actually. I really liked it. The problem is I also like smut.
Yeah, I hear it doesn't have smut,
and very much.
I might be disappointed.
Okay, so my two CPs that I told you about, Jillian and Lindsay are their names. They read Throne of Glass before ACOTAR and all of that.
Really?
Stuff. So they were like, you need to read this, you need to read this. They were very disappointed in my reaction. And I'm like, I'm sorry to disappoint you. But ACOTAR will always be number one for me.
Oh, yeah.
I did like Throne of Glass though. Like it was, especially those last two books.
Okay.
They were really, really good.
That's what I've heard. Like I don't know what the right way to read it is.
Well, I can tell you the way that I read it. People are gonna be like, you what? I skipped Assassin's Blade completely, and I also skipped Tower of Dawn completely. I just didn't have time to read
it
any more than I actually had to.
Yeah.
And I loved it just fine. So whatever order you want to read.
Is there nine books? I'm probably way off on that. I haven't even looked into it.
Somebody's gonna come after me and be like,
it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Like, you'll like it.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of Sarah J. Maas.
Well, yeah, and I don't know. I feel like I did the ACOTAR right. Like I read that first.
Yes.
But then I kind of like, if I read Crescent City first, maybe I wouldn't have read ACOTAR. So I feel like I did that part right. ACOTAR, Crescent City, and then I don't know. Maybe I didn't do it right.
You can read it and see if you like it.
Yeah. Well, I hear I'm supposed to read Fourth Wing now too.
Oh my goodness.
It's like a whole another world.
She's amazing too with what she's done with Fourth Wing.
That's why, I was talking to you earlier about a book. I went into Poppy's bookstore in Spanish Fork. Shout out to them.
Yes.
I wanted to read Done and Dusted. Yep. I'm like, we're a Western family, so I'm like,
read it?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Because I want to finish Crescent City.
Yep.
And then I'm like, I need a break from that world for a while, so I'm going to read Done and Dusted.
It is so good. Like, I love romance. Like, just contemporary romance I'm into too. But Done and Dusted is so sweet. It's relatable, it's genuine, and like there's not that weird like we're breaking up with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Goodbye. Like they're gonna work through it together. Like it's just really it's so good.
So the ladies at the bookstore told me that the author Lila Sage is from Utah.
Oh, I had no idea.
I didn't either, and I was like,
awesome.
Well, does she have like horses? Like she must have horses or growing up on a farm to know how to. I mean, I haven't read it, but
no, you'll love it.
Yeah,
you'll love it. It's so great.
My mom's friend, she loves to read, and she gave me 2 big boxes of books from like the 80s. Oh. Yeah, I thought they'd be stupid. I read some of them, and I'm like, wow, my mom read these. This is like, she was always reading these. I'm like, okay, it's funny because they word the smut differently. Mm-hmm. Which cracks me up. Yes. I find myself chuckling a lot. But yeah, I don't know. I need some smut, and I did.
Oh, they're good.
I saw a teaser on Instagram where you were asking people if you should write smut. Are you gonna do it?
I think with that. Well, now I can't remember totally.
I don't even remember.
Was asking me. Oh, I was asking. So pen names is a big.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Right, the writing world. A lot of authors have pen names. Like a lot of authors that that's not their actual name.
Yeah.
And a lot of like romance authors have pen names because, just gets a little awkward.
Right.
And maybe that's not the reason why they have pen names, but there's various reasons why you do. But I think one of my friends was like, please write smut or something. And what's funny is I'm not totally against it. Like if my feeling about smut is like if you don't want to read it, then don't read it.
Oh, I feel the same.
Like, I don't know. It's just not. If it's not your thing, then don't.
Yeah.
I don't have anything against it, and
right.
I'm okay with putting it in my books. Now, I don't know that I'm going to be like Sarah J. Maas smart.
Yeah, that's next level.
I just don't write that way.
Yeah.
But there's definitely going to be romance and, you know, maybe some awkward scenes that my parents probably shouldn't read.
I love that.
but yeah, for sure. Like I don't know. I'm not even afraid to write romance and have my actual name. Like that's just, I don't know.
You just own it.
Yeah, I don't know. As I've gotten older, I've become more that way.
Right.
Because it's like it's just less embarrassing to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't read it, then. Why are you reading it? Did you enjoy it? Like, you know, if people like come up to me as if they ever would, but if they did, you know, you must have enjoyed it because you read it.
I know. You know? Well, I always say, like, the older I get, I hope my give a damn breaks a little more. So
yeah,
that's good.
It's therapy, man.
It is. Like, that's how
therapy has helped me break my give a damn button a little bit more. So.
Which is good. I mean, that's the goal, right? Yeah. Not to care so much what other people think and just do your thing. Yeah. But I'm trying to think if I have skipped anything. We talked about publishing. Do you know when your next one?
No.
There's not like a...
I'm revising right now.
Okay.
That's kind of where I'm at with my book. I'm hoping to have it done, like revisions done, so that I can query in the fall.
Okay.
Fall and springtime are kind of the times that you want to query because other than that, agents really aren't in the office a whole lot. And so, like, they go on, you know, their office has a break or it's Christmas break or whatever. So fall is really the time that I would love to, like, query. So I'm really trying to get it done for then.
Yeah. So, like, what is your... I mean, I've seen you put snapshots of your...
Yes.
Is that a special program?
Yeah, it's a program called Scrivener.
Okay.
It's specifically for writing, like, long form things. So the easiest way that I can describe it is, like, if you're in Word and you have multiple documents, you have to scroll, like, all the way down.
Yes, that's true. It becomes
really tedious. In Scrivener, you can still have all of those documents, but there's little files off to the side that you can click into and just jump from file to file instead of scrolling all the way down. So. Okay.
So what is your process? Like, do you come home from work and you sit down and write, or does it just come to you and then do you keep a notebook by the side of your bed? Because I've heard some people do that.
Yeah. So I have a notes app on my phone that I usually use because a lot of my ideas do come to me like when I'm sleeping. Or, like when I'm half asleep. I will like have this idea of like, oh my gosh, that will work. Like I've been worried about this one part and that will work. So I hurry and type it in or something. But yeah, I come home from work. I have a daughter, so it's like impossible to just like find a quiet place. Right. I was like, Mom, where are you?
Yep.
So we usually wait until she's in bed and then I can actually have like peace and quiet. Because it's really hard for me. If there's other things going on, I can't concentrate.
Yeah.
I have to have my noise canceling headphones. Like, it's like a must. Because even if it's like my dog is doing something or I hear my phone or if I hear any noise, I'm going to be distracted.
Right.
But yes, I do keep notebooks.
Okay.
As well. I have a notebook for each book idea that I have.
Oh, cool.
And I don't know. Right now it's hard because it's the end of school and I am a teacher and it's like, it's just busy and crazy. So I'm really trying to be good about trying to write, maybe not every night, but multiple times a night. I kind of got out of, I had like set times that I wrote, but I kind of got out of that because I hired an editor to look over my book so that she could help me get ready for querying. And while she was looking at that, you know, it's kind of like taking a break when you're working out. I'm like, I'm just gonna, you know, she's looking at it. I'm just gonna like wait.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I'm just like,
it's hard to get back into it again.
So if you have a schedule, just keep with the schedule. Don't break it.
Oh, jeez. So I don't know. I'm trying to think like, if you have like a good idea, you want to hurry and capture it because
it will be gone.
And that like just pisses me off
know.
if I have an idea and I didn't write it down or I didn't put it in my notes and it's gone.
That I have thought about, or I've been in the car.
Yeah.
A lot of my ideas come to me in the car.
Yeah.
When I'm driving, and I can't. I'm like on the freeway, so I can't.
You can't just stop.
I leave voice messages for myself.
Okay, that's a good idea.
I leave voice messages for my CPs.
Okay.
Because they will not let me forget.
That's so cool. See, just more support.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So I do either of those things.
That's awesome.
I want to go back to authors because I forgot.
Yeah, let's do it.
So like, as an author, you think that you're like a one book person. You're like, I just got one book in me, and then I don't have any other ideas. But ever since taking these workshops and having my CPs and everything, your creativity just expands, and you have a lot more ideas. And reading more.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if you've heard of Divine Rivals by Rebecca, and now I can't remember her name.
Divine Rivals.
Oh my gosh, I'm so mad at myself that I can't remember her name. But she is like, I love her so much, the author. In fact,
we can look it up. I need like a person here to look up stuff for me.
She's like the world in Divine Rivals changed me and like what I wanted to write. Like it was like, I can do this. Like this, it can be like it's based off of World War One-ish vibes, but there's magic and it.
Oh wow!
It's just like super. I don't know. It was just so magical to me in that moment when I was reading it, and so I had a book idea from her. Like
that's cool.
I have this whole other book idea that I will get started on when I'm done with this book, and it's just been. I don't know. I just want to follow her forever because she's so good with certain things.
Yeah.
Also, Shelby Mahurin, she's like, she's been my favorite for forever. She wrote Serpent and Dove.
Okay.
And I love her books, but I just love her.
Right.
Like if you look at her Instagram and her aesthetic and her branding, I'm like, you are who I want to be. Like, I love everything about you.
That's so cool.
If I ever met her, she'd probably be like, you're creepy. You need to get away from me because you'd be
starstruck.
So cool. Yes. And then Rachel Gillig she wrote One Dark Window. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
Are these all fantasy?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm new. So I need to make notes because I've enjoyed it. I have enjoyed this.
Rachel Gillig wrote her debut book and it was like a monster. Like, I mean, people everywhere loved it.
That is cool.
And One Dark Window also changed me in a way that I was just like, I have so many ideas right now.
Yes.
From just this one book. And so I have a third book idea.
Oh my gosh.
Because of all of these authors and like, I don't know, it's not that you're like copying them. It's just like you have like unlocked something in my brain.
Yes.
And I just like the way that you did that one thing. So I'm going to do that one thing, but in a different way.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think all authors are flattered when they like when other writers are
like inspired.
Inspired by them. Like that's so flattering. So anyway, I just wanted to mention those ones because
that's way cool.
Like so important to who I am as a writer and what I want to accomplish.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna have to look them up because like I said,
I have a list on my Instagram. I have in my highlights. I have books.
Okay.
And they're all in there.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like I've just joined this whole book scene lately. I'm like, I just wish I had more time.
I know
to sit and read.
That's my problem. I'm trying to write, but I also want to read.
I know. I don't know how you keep up with it.
I'm not keeping up with it well.
Being a mom, being a teacher, writer, reading. I mean, you gotta cook dinner. A wife.
Oh, we gotta cook dinner. Let's go down and get pizza.
Yep. Oh god, that's the worst. Yeah. I don't mind cooking. I just hate coming up with the idea.
I love cooking. Like I actually really love it. But if the ingredients could just magically all be there, then that would be a lot easier.
And if someone could say, "Here's your menu. Make this each night."
Exactly.
I'd be set. I don't have to come up with it. I don't know. Yeah. That's hard. It's hard to keep juggling. Yeah.
I feel like as women, we are, not that men are expected to not do a lot either, but we just have a lot of expectations. and you have to be, the mom and the nurturer, but heaven forbid you want to pursue your own goals.
Yep.
So.
No, I think, and if you have a good partner to help you
absolutely
get through that, it makes it so much easier.
Yes. Yeah, it's made it so easy to have somebody who just like is supportive and who actually is interested in what you do.
Your number one cheerleader.
Yeah, it makes it more fun for me.
Yeah. Well, that makes it not easier, but maybe just a tad.
Yes.
To know you have that support.
Yeah, a little bit.
Do you want to talk about being a teacher?
Sure.
How long have you been a teacher?
So this is my 3rd year as a teacher.
Okay.
But this is my 7th year with the district.
Okay.
I did various jobs before I became a teacher because I was, going to school to be a teacher.
Yeah, you were a secretary.
Yeah, I was secretary. I was, I guess they call it an administrative assistant now. Who politically correct.
There you go.
I also did skills. So like I worked with like, the kids that maybe needed a little more support in the classroom. I was a reading tech, so I worked with the kids that need extra support in reading. I don't know, as the assistant in the office, you wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I was qualified for this, but it was part of my job. I had to give like insulin to the diabetics.
Oh my gosh.
And I had never given anybody a shot before.
That's crazy.
Here's like 25-year-old little me, and I'm like, okay.
Do they like?
Am I allowed to do this?
Yeah. Like, where's the school nurse? I thought they were supposed to do that.
Yeah, we have to share nurses with school.
Oh my gosh.
So like we share currently in my school right now, we share a nurse with 6 other schools. So like she can't be there.
No, she can't.
And that's just a funding thing.
Dang.
So
that's a whole nother topic
So then, those types of jobs fell to the people in the office.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you are. Well, and just, I don't know, I've had to go pick up my kids sick in the office before. I'm like, and I don't do throw ups. So I'm like, that poor secretary.
Yep, I had one kid throw up on my phone.
Oh my gosh. Did you throw your phone away?
I'm not cleaning that thing.
No, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I have some horror stories and some really funny stories.
Yeah. Well, and that comes with every job, but I feel like, people in the schools they have a tough job.
Yeah, they do. All of us. It's not even just teachers.
No.
It's administration. It's the techs.
Yep.
It's everybody that works in a school. It's really hard.
God. And that, so you teach 1st grade?
Yes, I teach 1st grade.
Did you always teach 1st grade?
So I did my student teaching in 4th grade.
Okay.
But I did it at the school that I worked at. And it was super fun. Mostly because 4th grade is awesome.
Yeah.
And also because I already knew all the kids.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
So I'm like, what was I so afraid of? I'm like, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to be great at this.
They just see you in a different, not in the front office.
Yeah. And then you go to a different school where nobody knows you.
Yep.
And you don't know the kids.
Yep.
And it's like, oh.
And it could be a harder school.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
It's so totally different.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, so what are your biggest challenges that you're running into right now with kids or parents or just all of it?
Without going into specifics, it's just, I think the system in general is kind of a broken system and there's no one person to fix it.
Right.
So it's a hard thing to be in education anyway, and everybody's tired.
Yes.
So nobody is willing to fix it. And to be honest with you, I'm one of those people that's not willing to fix it because I'm quitting and I'm not coming back next year. And I don't know. It's just like it's not even just one thing.
Right.
It was just little things here and there that added up to kind of what, I don't think this is really healthy for me anymore to be here.
Yeah. Well, then if it's affecting you, it's going to affect your home life. It's going to affect the kids. I'm not saying that you're not giving it your all, but when you get to that point, drained. Oh yeah. And then you're not there for your family.
I'm like, don't talk to me. Just sit over there.
Yep. My mom taught school for 30 years and I just remember, this is nothing bad against her, but she just even said, she's like, I'd come home And I just didn't want noise anymore. Like I've been
noise all day.
Yeah, you've had to be happy all day. You've had noise all day. Kids needing you. 25 kindergartners. Well, 50 because she did a half day, So yeah, she's like, I just was spent, and to have to be able to try to give all that attention to your family and your kids, that's hard.
Yeah.
You can't do that forever.
No.
But what are some of the positive things that you noticed in your job as a teacher?
The kids.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think that being in first grade would be fun because you don't really get to pick the grade level that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really hoping for fourth grade when I got my job, but when my principal called me and he's like, "So first grade?" I guess.
Like, yeah, sure.
Honestly, I have had the most fun with them though. Like they are so funny. Like the things that they say, I don't know. I get a kick out of them. But they can have really insightful conversations too, as 6 and 7-year-olds that you probably didn't expect as just a person that doesn't deal with kids.
Yeah.
But you go in there and they're just awesome. You can make these relationships with these kids that you didn't expect to make really. When I started my job, I'm like, great, I have these kids, I'm going to manage them, I'm going to teach them. And then by the end of the year, you're like crying and you're like, but these are all my little friends. And I don't want them to go to a different teacher.
Yep.
I have a kid this year that's been a challenge in a way, but I love him so much and we are buddies. And I'm worried about him next year,
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know, you take on all these kids that you also worry about, that you just start to love them as a teacher. But that's probably a really big positive. The other positive is I think I came to this school for a reason. And I got put right next to a teacher who was also struggling with teaching, but I didn't know that at the time because I'm a brand new teacher. And we just hit it off. And we became literally best friends outside of work, during work. We were just, I don't know, we just became inseparable. And so when she quit, that was really hard for me.
Oh, yeah.
That was just like,
heck yeah.
I don't even want to do this anymore. And it stopped being the fun that it was because you didn't have those people around you that you just click with and get along with. But I think that I don't regret teaching. I don't regret getting my degree. I think I was supposed to do it for a reason. But I think that reason was just to meet my best friend.
Yeah.
And then I think we also helped each other. Do we actually want to do this? Do we want to be here teaching? And I think that we both figured out, no, we don't want to. And so because of her, I've kind of well, what do I actually want to do? Well, I actually want to write because that's what I've been doing for years. And so because of teaching, it helped me get to the point well, I actually want to be a writer. How can I do that? And it led me down the paths of figuring out ways that I could actually be that in real life.
Right.
So,
well, life's too short. You can't do what's not making you happy. That's my thing too, is I'm always wanting to try to push people, just give it a chance. Just find something that you love. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but give it a shot so you don't regret it later. You don't want to live with that.
No.
But
and I think I was trying to tell myself my poetry collection would be enough because I'd always wanted to be a writer and have it be published and everything, but it just ended up not being enough, and I had too many stories in me to just keep inside and not put down on paper. So
don't deprive us of those.
Well,
it's gonna be great.
Or not.
I have a feeling it's gonna be good.
I've also really enjoyed being in the classroom and sharing my love of reading and writing with the kids because in first grade that's very important.
Yeah.
And so, I've had multiple. We read a lot of Junie B. Jones. In first
yes.
grade. And that's what got me started reading was Junie B. Jones, and so that's why I like to share it with the kids. And every year I've had one girl and their mom come to me and be like, she loves reading now because of you, and because of Junie B. Jones, and that is just the best compliment that I could ever get.
Yeah.
It's I want you to be a reader. I want you to be a reader your whole life. And even with writing, I have a few girls this year who have just taken off with writing.
That's so cool.
They come and show me, look at how many sentences I wrote. And I'm you need to keep doing that forever. So that's been a really special part that I will miss.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I'm not going to be able to do that anymore.
Right.
So
No, like you made a difference though while you were there. So that's good.
I hope. I don't know. Some days
You
you don't
did.
feel like you do.
I know you did. No. Did you, well, so you've been teaching for 3 years.
Yeah.
So you would have missed COVID year.
So I was at my other school
Okay.
during COVID, and when COVID hit and we had to, get out of schools and everything, so I was just sitting at home. I was like, you know what, I just need to finish my degree because I was so close to getting it done. And so I just took the year off to get it done. Then that following year is when I got hired at my current school. So
probably 2021.
Yeah, 2021.
So you write a book in 2020. You published your book in 2021. You're going to school.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was a busy year.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, that's pretty cool though. You accomplished all of that.
And this year has been a busy year too.
Yeah.
So,
Geez. So like just for, I mean, someone who might want to be a teacher, what does your day-to-day look like as a teacher?
So we come in, we do things called morning bins. It's a soft start, so they can just kind of go to their seats, pick a bin. They usually have like manipulatives or toys or like some sort of things that they can build or something like that. We have a morning meeting where we come together and we talk about our day. If they want to, they always want to share something. So
yes.
We always have a share.
Yep.
And then we go to specialties, which are like, PE, computers, like stuff like that. And throughout all of this, I have to be looking at the clock and looking at like, are we on time? Are we gonna be late? Are we all on task? Somebody's having a meltdown in the corner.
Oh
That's
gosh.
okay. We're just gonna leave them there.
Yep.
And then we come back, we do a little bit of writing, and then it's lunchtime. And after lunch is when we do things like centers and math. And then it's recess time. And after recess time, if I'm not totally burnt out, hopefully we can do some science. But throughout the whole day, you're just needed all the time.
Oh yeah.
Mrs. Barnum, Mrs. Barnum.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not a touchy-feely person. That's not how my family is, so that's not how I am, but I have to be when I'm at school. So I can't tell you how many hugs I give during a day. It's a lot.
I'm sure it means a lot to them.
Yeah,
but
it does. And that's why I like to do it. And especially because they're first graders.
Right.
I would never be like, get away from me, kid.
Yeah, well, they're still little, and at least, I don't know, I think they're transitioning to all-day kindergarten, I don't know, but it's a big step, I feel like, for them to go from kindergarten
to
first grade all day. You have to do lunch, and
people don't think about all the things that first grade has to learn.
Oh, it's a lot.
They don't even know how to put their lunch
right
in. You know what I mean? They have to memorize those.
Yep.
And it takes time. So the first week or 2 weeks or a month of school, like we as teachers don't really get that much of a lunch because we have to help every kid get their lunch number in. And a class of 20 plus kids, that takes a long time.
Yeah.
Also, we have Chromebooks in our class, and it's easier now because they can scan a QR code. But it used to be like, here is your email address and here is your password.
Oh my gosh.
You have to memorize both of these, and here's your card, and you have to type it in, and it would take the amount of time that takes a first grader to do on a keyboard that they've never used before. Like, it was, I mean, it just, we're all day, we're logging in and logging out of our Chromebooks.
Well, and it's like one kid loses their or can't remember. Oh my gosh, anytime anything happens, like a kid needs their shoe tied, or they lose their password, or someone got hurt, you don't get breaks. And I think, like, I don't know if some people think they're at specialties, I get a break. No, you don't. You're preparing.
Copies ready.
Yes.
Trying to figure out what we're gonna do, for next week or tomorrow.
Yeah.
It just depends. I'm also, I'm team leader this year, so that means that I am sometimes making copies for my whole team.
Oh my goodness.
Which we have 6 first grade classes, so there's a lot of first graders.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I don't know, your day-to-day varies between how much you have to do, how much you've planned and stuff like that. Which right now, not a lot of planning is happening. It's just because life and it's
well, and testing. I feel like
we have a lot of testing.
the kids go to school the month of May, but why? Just get the numbers, their days in.
Pretty much, and it's just May is like the free-for-all time.
Well, and that, I mean, I guess it's fun for them and stuff, but you have to be creative in coming up with all these things to keep them entertained for that long.
You do.
And then, I don't know, once they get settled, your lunch break, what does that look like? 30 minutes, maybe?
Yes, yeah. 30
and you have
minutes.
to inhale your food and hurry back.
Yeah, hurry back. And sometimes you're like, if you want to go get lunch, you have to like strategically like either go get lunch on your planning time and then actually eat after lunch time, or the other way around.
Yep.
But it's, I don't know, it's, your day is scheduled to the minute.
Oh, for sure.
And
Yeah.
to have that every day, that is on me. That's hard. Because that's not who I am in my personal life.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think it will be a nice break for me when I don't come back next year, to just not have that tight of a schedule. I can do it, but it's just really draining.
It's exhausting, yeah. Well, I feel like my mom would say sometimes she didn't even get a bathroom break.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and we, at my school, because it's old, we only have 2 staff bathrooms, and we are the farthest classrooms from those.
Oh, gosh, so you're booking it.
So if I have to go to the bathroom, or if it's like an emergency, I'm like, well, kids,
you're on your own. You better be good.
Yeah. I sometimes trick them. I have a mic that I wear so that I don't have to shout. I sometimes trick them and leave the mic in there and tell them that it's recording them.
I love that.
So I can tell if they talked or whatever.
Well, and you know which kids are the ones that are going to be the stinkers when you're gone. So you could almost probably call them out, and it would be true. Yep.
My class this year, and every year, honestly, I've had really good classes. I mean, we've had a few hiccups here and there.
Yeah.
But, I can't think of a kid where I'm just like, man, I'm so glad you're out of here.
Yeah.
I've really liked all of them. So.
Well, and what I feel like those challenging kids too, you always kind of wonder, like, what's going on, and have extra.
Kind of what's going on, and so you can be like, you know what, I know you've had a rough day.
Yep.
Like, just
give them an extra hug. Things might not be that great at home or something. Yeah, that's why teachers are awesome, and they need a raise. I have so many things that I could say about teachers, and just underappreciated, and just, I don't know, like, what kind of resources did you have? Do you ever feel like there was a lack, or do you feel like there was enough? Or, because you know how they want donations, which is great. I'm always all about that. What do you need for your classroom? I'm happy to help. But were there ever times when you ran into things where you needed something and you couldn't get it?
Honestly, I don't feel that way in this district that I'm in right now. I have had, like, not a lot of support from parents, which has been hard.
Yeah.
And not even just like behaviorally, it's hard when we're not on the same page. And we're a no homework school, so we don't require homework, but I can tell the difference between kids that read at home and kids that don't read at home. And so you're just encouraging, like, hey, you should really try to read at home, and I know life is busy, like, I get it, because I'm a mom too. But it's just hard to see those kids that are struggling, and I'm like, man, I wish that you would just read at home.
Yeah. Well, and it doesn't have to take very long.
No.
You could
not at all.
Multitask if you could, I guess, like read while they're brushing their teeth or combing their hair for bed, or I don't know. I feel the same. I always, and it's hard. I always try to read to my kids, but then, and I have one kid that absolutely loves to read. I have one kid who hates reading. And I think he doesn't like reading because he hasn't found what he loves, but then it's hard for him. It's so easy for the other one that loves to read. But the other one, and he loves it when I read to him, but to get him to sit down and read a book, it's like ripping his arms off.
So I'm the only reader in my family.
Okay.
My sisters do not read. My parents do not read. Like,
where'd you come from?
Not that they can't read. They can.
They just don't like to.
Choose not to.
Yeah.
I don't know where I came from. To be honest with you, I'm the total black sheep of my family. So yeah, I think it's just, especially with kids, I like to find out what they liked, like what they are interested in, because then we can find books or whatever to hopefully get them interested. because reading is so important all through all the grades.
Yeah. We talked about it before. Like, I find a book I don't like reading. I hate it. Why am I still reading this?
And it's like, it's like almost torture to read something that you don't like to read. I love reading, but to get me to read like a teacher's manual.
Oh gosh.
I'm just like, I can't do this.
No.
It's really hard for me to read those types of books.
Yeah. God, no, I feel like you have made a positive influence on the kids and you're going to be missed, but you have other endeavors that you need to pursue because
I'm not saying I'm done with teaching forever, but
just a break.
For sure this year.
Yeah. Well, and like if you're away from it and then if you start to miss it, you can go back. If not, if you leave and you're skipping all through the next year, then you know that your time's done. But the time you were there, you did make a difference.
I really, there's many reasons why I chose to leave, but one of them was I just need to find a job where I have more brain space.
Yeah.
For writing.
That's true.
Things that I want to do because it takes up a lot. I mean, we've had trainings that we're required to do outside of school hours, and and it's just like that's really hard for me to do.
Yeah.
So, and planning, like you don't have enough planning time at school, so you have to plan at home.
Right.
And I don't want to do that because I am a parent, but also because I have my own things that I want to do.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you have to take your stuff home with you a lot.
I do.
Like I remember just
this year I don't. I've just made
good.
That promise to myself, but in years past, yes.
Yeah. I feel like when you're starting out too, trying to get your classroom, all your stuff set up, like just I don't know. I don't know if you remember file folder games. Did you ever have those when you were a kid?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my mom.
Little games that were in.
Yes, my mom had those, and I colored so many of those. And then, I mean, I love doing it. I love coloring, but I still have them actually. I have a bin.
So fun.
Like these are like, how old am I?
Antiques.
These are like 25. I mean, I'm 33, so I'm like, these are probably 25 years old.
Hey,
it's great though. My kids love them.
Yeah.
So.
There's a lot of stuff that I mean, I've spent a lot of money on my own classroom.
Yeah.
Because we don't get that much money to put into our classroom as a teacher.
Right.
So that part is sad and frustrating. Yeah. Because I put so much money into it.
Right.
But I won't have to spend any more money on it.
For sure. Yeah, save it. And then if you decide, I mean, you could probably sell it to a new teacher.
I'm selling some of it and keeping some of it because some of it I'm like I don't care to keep this, but some of it I'm like I actually want to use this at my house.
Yeah. So. Well, yeah, it'd be fun for your daughter to see all that and have those resources at home.
Yeah.
But
and she'll be going to kindergarten.
Oh my gosh.
So, now I gotta be like at home teacher, which is hard for me too.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, you're quitting one job, but the world, I mean, your life's going to be a little different.
This year, it's like 2021 was a year of change for us because I got my teaching job. And this year is also a year of change for me because I'm quitting teaching, but also my daughter's going.
Yep.
And so it's just.
Yeah, but you have good things in the works.
Yes.
So that's good.
It'll be good.
Well, is there anything else you want to add about reading? You kind of covered like advice you would give to people starting out.
I'm trying to think of any other advice. If you are wanting, like if you're a writer and you just want to write at home, like that is totally good. That just stopped being enough for me, just writing at home. And so creating a writing Instagram was like one of the first things that I did, one of the first steps that I made. And I've had it since 2020, so I've had it for a few years now, but I think just making that your own community on Instagram and finding the people that are supportive, like that's probably the biggest thing that you could do to like just help yourself. Like, yeah, for sure. Just to have people around you doing the same thing. That's super important. And then also, just finding the right workshop or finding the right people that can help you.
That's great.
And
yeah, I think that's good. Where can people find you? You're on Instagram.
I'm on Instagram at Aubree Barnum Books.
Okay.
And I have a few things coming up. I haven't said anything about this, but in May, I'm going to be unveiling a website that I have. It's just AubreeBarnumBooks.com.
Okay.
But it's not up and running yet. It will be soon.
Okay.
And then in June. Now I can't remember if it's June or July. The King's English Bookshop is a bookstore up in Salt Lake.
Okay.
And they are doing like a showcase, like a local showcase.
Okay.
And so I will be up there selling books and merch.
Cool.
And I have new shirts that I'm going to be selling and like all of my cool stuff.
Do you have will your website sell your merch? Your books,
Maybe eventually.
Okay, so where can they find that?
They can, if they want to buy any of that, they can just DM me on Instagram.
Okay. All right.
I ship it through there. My books, you can find them anywhere books are sold. So like Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Walmart.
Really?
Yes.
How do you we missed that? How do you get a book into Walmart?
To be honest with you, I didn't know that they were on there.
For real?
Until
I wonder if it's through Amazon.
So I had some parents and some other teachers Google me.
Yeah, I'm gonna Google you when we're done here.
And it came up in all three of those places, and I was like,
"That's so cool!"
Oh dang! Like, I didn't know that.
Sometimes, like when you get on Walmart, they have the same stuff that's on Amazon. So I wonder if it's connected to that.
I don't know how any of that works.
That is so cool.
It's cool to see it on Walmart.
Yeah.
And Barnes and Noble, because I love Barnes and Noble so much. But they can also find my book at Poppy's if they're in Utah, because they are the first ones that like wanted to sell it in their store, and it's been there for a year now.
That's so cool.
And they let me know that it's one of the highest selling indie books there, which is like so incredibly cool.
Yeah.
I know that's like a small thing to other people, but it's just cool that even that many people want to buy it.
No, you have a book in a bookstore, and people are buying your books. That's really cool.
So, all of those places, and then I will be at the King's English in, I want to say June. I think it's June 21st. Okay,
we can I'll put a link for all of that, and then
I'm also going to be, like, I will announce, like, the for sure date on my Instagram and everything.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, that'll be good.
There's cool things coming up.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And I'm so glad that you said you would sit down with me.
Thank you so much for asking me. Like, that was just really cool.
No, I'm so curious about how all of it works, and I think it will be helpful for other people. So
hopefully.
It'll be good.
It's hard as a writer because you're like, everything's already been done, and like there's no unique ideas, but like I think there's space for everybody, and everybody right time and the right place for every story.
For sure. And just be willing to give it a shot.
Yep.
So
exactly.
All right. Well, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Chairside Chats. If you enjoyed this episode, give us a follow. For updates on new episodes, follow us at Chairside Chats 24 on Instagram. You can also find us on Facebook at Chairside Chats.